Hi guys, it's Clarice and welcome to another video tutorial with me. In this tutorial we are going to be doing watercolor flowers and it's going to be on black watercolor paper. And we're going to be using some metallics and some cute regular watercolors which almost are very potent and show up really well on black watercolor paper. It's almost kind of like gouache in a sense, and they are by KMS Watercolour. So I'll be listing all the supplies down in the description, so please feel free to check that out if you are interested. And like I mentioned, we are going to be using the Princeton number 8, and I will definitely be using my Silver Black Velvet number 4. Alright, so let's begin. Oh, one last thing. The paper is a black aqua paper by Legion. Alright, so I have zoomed in a bit so you can see a more up-close version of what I'm going to be doing. Alright, so first things first, I am going to be using the Princeton number 8 regular round. And I've got water handy on the side here. And I'm going to get the first color, which is going to be one of my favorites, and I've used this in the holiday challenge, and it is this really pretty pink here that you can see, and it is called Miami. Alright, so I'm just going to get a good amount of color on here, and then we're going to start by doing these simplistic 5-petal florals. The whole beauty of this video tutorial is doing pretty florals on black watercolor paper. Alright, so we're going to start off by doing a petal. So for the petal, I'm just going to use the tip of my brush. Using the tip, I'm dragging down, then pressing and trailing off. Now you can see just based on the edges that it's a little bit too dry, so I'm dipping the tip of my brush in water, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to get a little bit more color and do the same thing on this side. And I'm pushing all the color downward here. Alright, so now I am also going to be fluctuating between Miami and this other pink that's also in this set, and it's called Christmas Carol. And so I am going to go ahead and do the same thing here, similar style of petals but just off to the side. Dipping the tip of my brush in water, I'm going back to Miami, and I'm going to get a couple of strokes of Miami in here. Notice I'm going to be leaving this white space as the circle. I'm going to add another petal here. The petals are literally done by doing 3 strokes. And I'm leaving a lot of white space around there, so please be mindful of that as well. And then for I'll do one more petal on this end. And then for our final petal, because it's going to be 5 petals, I'm just going to do a petal just like this. I'm pushing all the watercolor inside, or all the color downward. And that is it. Alright, so that's how we're doing our flower. Now we can allow this to dry up a bit. Actually, before or while it's drying, let's just take some more of this color and just add it to the center. And leave the center jaggedy. Like, notice how you can see these jagged edges. Don't cover it up. If you've got gaps in between the petals, that's great. Leave the gaps in there. And you can maybe even add a couple of strokes on some of these petals to kind of give it that nice transition of color. And then we're going to leave it at that, and we're moving on to some leaves. And for the leaves, I'm going to be using my beautiful green, which is called Meadow. I absolutely love this color. I'm going to get some right here. And so I've got Meadow handy, moving it aside. Let's do, because I'll probably do another flower here, so I'm going to do a leaf here. And we're doing the same strokes that we did for the flower, except these are just going to be one stroke leaves. And if you need to work on your leaves, I suggest using the tip, pressing down, full body of your brush, trailing off. Maybe just take a sheet and just practice a whole bunch that way. That can really be helpful and handy while you're kind of figuring out your way around watercolor, especially if you're new to it. I'm going to do a couple over here on a smaller scale. It's all about finding that brush that you really like and then just kind of practicing your leaves, because everyone has different preferences. I know some people prefer brushes that are a little harder. I personally love the number 4 to create little loose stuff like this. And that's pretty much the idea of kind of having the leaves go all over the place. Now I'm going to add a couple more of these flowers around, and then we can kind of add more of the leaves as well. But this is the whole idea. So let me do a couple more of these flowers with you guys, and then we can transition off into more of a composition. So I've got more of the Miami, and we are going to do another flower over here. Getting some water on the tip of my brush, then going back to get some color, pressing down. I'm almost like transitioning between the two colors, the two pinks that I have, to kind of get a nice variety of color happening. And pushing all the color to the center of this flower. So there's one flower. Let's do another one kind of on this side here. So try and practice these florals. Paint, just taking a brush, just like I suggested with the leaves, and just painting these flowers in every direction that you can possibly think of. So there's another one. And at the end of this, I'm going to take in some of the silver from KMS right here. And we're going to do a couple more. So I'll do one here. Facing upward, as you can see. And then possibly just, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just do one more here. You can see that I am going a little bit faster, because once you kind of warm up and know how to do these florals, you can kind of almost be super quick in your execution of them. Transitioning between all the colors and just trying to get in both the colors of the pink, and just trying to get in some nice loose strokes in here. Perfect. And so now I'm washing this brush, keeping it aside. We're going to go ahead and get some of the silver that I mentioned to you. And we are going to add some of that silver in the centers of these flowers. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this silver that I'm going to use is going to be diamond. And I'm using the number 4. I'm going to get some diamond and add diamond right in the center here, and maybe even overlapping over the pink. And you can see that my dots are sporadic, haphazard, and very loose. And I'm trying to get different sizes of these dots as well. So I'm not trying to stick with the one color, I'm trying to get different sizes. And you know what I should have done before washing off the number 8 Princeton, which had all that yummy pink on it? I should have done a splatter, but we're gonna have to get some more of that pink and do a splatter now, or as soon as this dries up a bit. So I'm getting this dotted center all over, and you can just see how it makes the flowers pop a bit, right? And I think that's it. Oh, actually, using the same silver, we can actually just go ahead and create some nice little smaller florals on the side. So I'm just creating some tinier ones here and there. And then we're going to use some of the green to join this in. Like creating branches or a stem or something like that. So I'm just creating these with an idea of where I want the stems to be, and you'll see once I join them in exactly where I plan to have mine. So there's one. I'm gonna have some over here. And some almost like trailing downward-ish. And then we're going to join them all. Some at the top here. And some on this end kind of trailing off or falling out. And now we're going to go ahead and join them. So for the stems for those, I am going to be using some of this color right here, which is called Sage. And I'm just getting some color directly from here. And we're going to go ahead and start joining this. And so you can see how I start from the center with my main stem, so the one at the very top, and then I'm just joining the others in. And that's really all there is to it. So starting off here, and then joining the rest to that stem. So that's why, if you noticed, I would always kind of end off with one at the top, and then several on the sides. So for this one too, over here. And for this one, I'm going to do it this way. So I can possibly do a couple more on this branch over here. And then finally at the top we got to do some, where's my sage? There it is. Love this color combination. Perfect. So now I can, now I can actually go back in and do a couple more. Before I do that though, I'm going to use the sage and just add some splatter. So I think it's pretty to have like a green splatter. Perfect. So washing off my sage. We can do a couple more of the meadow before we sort of take a step back to have a look and see what's happening on our sheet, and perhaps maybe even try a couple more variations of florals on there. Okay, so for some of the leaves here, I'm going to do some happening on the bottom. Absolutely love painting on black watercolor paper. For some reason, I find it such a pleasant experience, like something different, and this is great paper too. I don't know if anybody else makes black watercolor paper. I didn't quite look into it. I just did a search and I found Legion, and I've heard quite a few people mention them previously. So I figured I'll just try it for myself and see what I think. So I know I've used this in the watercolor challenge, the holiday watercolor challenge that I have put out. And it's been an interesting element of variety in there almost. It's Christmas, so you don't really want to use too much dark colors and whatnot because it's not representative of the holiday season, snow and this and that, but something different and elegant too. I'm just gonna create a little bit of a bottom bit here for this flower and then a stem. There we go. And I think we can have a couple of hints of leaves happening around here. I do have there's some other variety of greens that I have here as well by KMS, but I want to keep this simple and leave it quaint like this. I'll just end off with tiny little tendril-like elements, like a little bit at the top and maybe off to the side. Now the rigger would be good for elements like this as well. I didn't quite plan to do this, but as I am painting along, I'm inspired to kind of do these little tendril bits here. So enough of that. I think this is good. You guys get the idea. Go ahead and try and embellish it more. I'm going to make the rest of this a time lapse so you guys can see exactly how you can use what I've just shown you with a couple of basic strokes and create something pretty on black watercolor paper. I just zoomed out so you can have a better view of what we've done here. I know it's quite pretty, and because of the light coming in here, you can't really see the glitter of the pink, but it is very, very cute. So I'm going to go ahead and create a couple more of these, maybe kind of like angling along the page, and you guys can see the end results. So thanks so much guys for watching though. Hit the like button if you liked this video. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and please tag me in your social media post. I would love to see your work. And also feel free to hit that like button and share this video with people that you think will enjoy and learn from this. All right, thanks so much guys for watching, and we'll chat soon. Bye.